When I was a kid, I lived near my grandpa, and I was always hanging out and spending time with him. And often he would make us things, nothing expensive, just cheap little toys. But one of the things he would make us is bows. And he would cut down limbs from the apple tree, shove a spike, a nail through the side to act as a rest, and then tie it together with whatever type of string he had laying around. And we'd either gather up whatever leftover arrows we had, or he would cut them out on the table saw just from a 2x4. He would cut out like half by half square long shaft like things and notch them, and those were our arrows that we would shoot. And I remember one day I was hanging out with him. He's like, see if you can hit that apple. He pointed to an apple up on the limb, and I shot and I hit it. And he's like, huh, that's pretty good. He's like, see if you can hit that one. And so I shot and I missed it by a mile. And he's like, you'll learn. He's like, when you make a lucky shot like that, or a good shot like that, he's like, don't try to repeat it. He said, let people think that's what you do all the time. That's relevant because at the end of this video, you'll see that I make a decent shot with this rifle. And you probably won't see me try to repeat it again. I'm gonna just leave it at that. But that leads into the fact that this 303 is complete. I blued the stock, blued the barrel and finished the stock. And in this video, I talk about how I chose my rear and front sight from New England Custom Guns, and then how I show you, and I'll talk about how I finished the stock and blued the barrel. But that's it, that's complete. This has a sling. I've probably sent, maybe 20 rounds through this thing now. And the other day I was quite happy with the way it shot today, just like I told the story, not so much. But that's it. I'm not going to do any more videos about this 303, except maybe one of the following videos I'll do is I'm going to take this out groundhog hunting. All right, I appreciate you stopping by. If you would, go ahead and subscribe, enjoy this video, and get out and explore your nature. Okay, I didn't do much research on it, but this is how I did it. I found my barrel width, my sight base height, and my sight blade height, and then used those to kind of logic my way through what I wanted for my front blade height. You'll see the calculations here. I don't want to talk too much over it. It's fairly self-explanatory. This sight height measures from here to the bottom of this groove here. And that's that measurement. Then this measurement is for their Mini Express sight. And that measures from here up to the here. Here is measured from this location to the bottom of the dovetail. I'm sorry, the bottom of the groove, which is right there. Okay, I work from the center of the barrel, and from there I divided the barrel diameters by 2 to find my barrel center line. Once I did that, I added up all my information for the rear sight to give me the total sight height above my center line. For the front sight, I added half the barrel diameter plus the front sight base, which left me with the unknown blade height. And I'll explain how I logicked my way through that as well. Okay, so now I have my total rear sight height and my front sight minus the blade. And I'm going to now subtract the two numbers to determine the blade height that would make up the difference. Okay, so here's everything with the pictures you saw in the last part. I want a sight height of 2938. That's the front blade height that I want to equal the top of my rear sight. My only adjustment in this system is with this rear sight, and the only thing I can do is lower it down, which lowers my point of impact, and I can move it to the left or to the right, which moves my point of impact to the left when I knock it left, or to the right when I knock it right. Okay? The rear sight moves in the direction you want your point of impact to change. The front sight is the exact opposite. If I want my point of impact to lower, I got to move my sight up. If I want it to raise, I got to adjust my sight down. There's no adjustment here. There's no adjustment here. So we got to keep that in mind when we pick our bead height. Because my rear is the only adjustable portion of this sighting system, and I can only adjust it down, I want my front sight to shoot high, which means I need my front sight shorter so I can move this sight system down. All right, so New England Custom Guns only offers that front sight in the fiber optic in a height of 0.256 from the base to the top, 0.276 from the base to the top, or 0.315 from the base to the top. All right, keeping in mind my number was 0.2938. So it became a choice between these two, and I didn't pick this because I thought it might get me too low on that rear sight. This is the one I went with. And if you look here, and you'll see it in the video when I shoot, that worked out pretty well. But that's how it ended up. Now I'm going to modify that to make that look like an express sight, because right now it's just a V-notch sight. I used iron sights a lot as a kid, and I used them on the muzzle loaders and stuff that I've built. You'll see there I'm trying to angle the front of that blade towards the front so I don't get a glare when I'm looking down that sight. In this clip you can see that the fore end and buttstock are two different colors. I believe that's because they're two different species of walnut, and I have to take care of that. Alright, my refinishing kit came with a water-based stain. I stained the buttstock with a full concentration of stain, and then I cut the fore end 50-50 and got it to match pretty good. I also found out that sealing the wood helped fill some of the wood pores. So after I wiped the stock down with a tack cloth, I went and put 2 coats of that sealer on the stock. Okay, I wasn't exactly familiar with the process, so I just followed the manufacturer's directions and sanded between coats. I ended up putting a total of 2 coats of sealer and 4 coats of true oil on the stock, and I can add more later if I like, and I probably will. I use Ballistics Calculator online to run my calculations for a 25-yard zero. At this point, I didn't want to take off any more metal in case I was too low at 100 yards. I don't know if you noticed, but shooting 100 yards with iron sights for me now requires that I change my optics, meaning I had to put my bifocals on. Okay, I should have filmed it in real time because that's my actual shot group with that sucker. Iron sights at 100 yards. Doubt I could duplicate it, but I know a lot of people would think that's pretty good, but this is my aiming point, and I wanted to be about 3 inches high. 1, 2, 3 from my point of impact, and I'm an inch low. I can't raise up my iron sights. That's why I quit filing it at that point. I can't go up anymore with that. So I'm kind of stuck there unless I bought a new sight, and I'm not doing that. I could buy a lower front sight and that would raise me up an inch. Or I could buy a new rear sight and file it down less, buy a new front sight and get a lower one that would raise that point of impact. But I'm 2 inches high. I wanted to be 2.9, basically 3 inches. I'm going to rest with that. I don't think I'm going to knock it left and right now. I think I'm almost done. Now I know that shot group's not the best, but for an old rifle, an aging man wearing bifocals with a sighting system meant to be quick, not precise, I'm pretty satisfied with an 1.5 or an 1.25 group. I'm sure there's others that could do better. Hey, thanks for watching. Go ahead and put this down and get out and explore your nature. Until next time.